This program is brought to you by Emory University.
A tumor?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
that doesn't make any sense, though. I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I recycle.
One of the hardest things about getting diagnosed with cancer is actually the word cancer, the big C. It evokes fear and anxiety in people. Cancer is actually a very broad term. It points to a biological phenomenon where cells grow too fast. And depending on which cells are growing too fast, the person's lifespan may be shortened or not. There are stages of grief that have been discussed when people are dealing with trauma, sometimes a medical diagnosis, like in the movie, a cancer diagnosis. These stages of grief were originally defined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who did studies with people who had a terminal illness. The medical literature has debated the accuracy of these stages of grief for all patients, and certainly may or may not have relevance for people who don't have a terminal illness or have a medical problem and are young and are going to be living with that medical problem for a long period of time. The first stage, one of the early stages, is denial, especially for a young person. They can often be very surprised that they have a cancer diagnosis. They've been healthy, they've never had to see the doctor before, they may not smoke or drink, and they still get cancer. And so there is a resistance to wanting to go to the doctor or wanting to have multiple tests and procedures. How could it possibly be me? Why me? That stage for some people evolves into anger and frustration. The cancer diagnosis interrupts a person's life. Instead of going to the movies, going to work, going to school, you have to go to the doctor. You're at home because you're fatigued or you feel nauseous. Pain may develop for some people. There's a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. These symptoms can't be controlled, and that the symptoms get in the way of what a person was doing before the cancer diagnosis. And one that happens maybe later after you've been given your diagnosis, such as cancer, and started through treatment, is acceptance. And acceptance is a place that people get to and say, all right, this is the problem, these are the cards I've been dealt, I'm going to have to figure out a way to deal with it. I know it's here, I'm going to have to go to the doctor, I'm going to have to put school on hold, I'm going to have to get some child care for my kids, I'm going to have to take a break from work. Positive coping, people are able to see there will be a time when I could go back to parenting. There will be a time when I can go back to being more involved in my community or at work. But for right now, I need to focus on my health. Helpful coping strategies, the way people deal with medical problems and a cancer diagnosis, include attending to the basics, first and foremost, making sure you get proper sleep, you're eating healthy foods that fuel your body, give you energy, and you're moving, you're exercising. Not going to the gym and bench pressing 300 pounds, but taking a walk, stretching, moving your body daily. It helps people feel better psychologically and physically. Other healthy coping strategies include using humor to deal with something stressful. The movie does an incredible job of using humor to deal with major life stress. Cancer when you're in the prime of your life. I've heard the expression, both in the popular press and in the work that I do and the patients that I see, of living like you're dying when you get a diagnosis like cancer. In some ways, this mindset can be helpful. There's evidence in the medical literature about a fighting spirit, helping women with breast cancer cope with their diagnosis, stay more active, stay more involved in their lives when they feel like they have a positive attitude. And dealing with cancer is a challenge, not a defeat. Living like you're dying could mean that you're motivated to go do things you've never done before. You may go see an art museum. You may travel, visit a mountain range that you'd always wanted to see. Make up with a family member that you've been distanced from because you want to live as if you had a short amount of time. Of course, the reality is we all have limited lives. It's never more so clear than when you have a cancer diagnosis.
The preceding program